Good evening, everyone. This is Beverly Buncher, and I'm here with my friends from the BALM Training Institute for Family Recovery Services. And this evening is the third evening of the Coach Training Challenge. So hopefully you've filled out your workbook, you've watched your BALM guide, and tonight you're going to have the treat, we all are, of a couple of interviews that I did in advance with leaders in our coach training school. First, Fran Fisher, our director of training, will talk about the importance of having an ICF accredited program. And then Jill Previs, the lead faculty in our business development program and facilitators program, will talk about the importance of BALM for coaches as they grow and train. So without further ado, Jericho, just take it away. Hi, everybody. Bev Buncher here from the BALM Training Institute for Family Recovery Services. And my guest this evening is our Director of Training, Fran Fisher. Fran, could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself as a coach?
Oh, thank you. Well, I discovered coaching in 1992. And I told the woman who introduced me to this initial course about coaching, I said, I've never heard of coaching and I can't imagine I'd want to be one. And she said, well, Fran, these skills are so transferable in life. If you work with people, these skills are transferable. And that tipped me over the edge. And when I took that course, I came out of it a flag-waving champion for coaching and realized I am already naturally a coach because I believe in the empowerment paradigm that empowering other people versus judging them, lifting them to their highest and best is what lights me up and how I believe we should all be with each other on the planet, whether we're trained and certified as a coach or not.
Wow. So Fran, that's so you are one of the most upbeat, positive, life-affirming people I know. Aww. And knowing that you've been like that always, coaching impacted you, but you came in as a positive person.
Well, Bev, I saw a vision right away that this can be the vehicle, the avenue, the track, the vocation where I can make a difference. I can make a difference in the world. And that's my life mission. So, and helping others do the same.
Right? So you became a coach, and then what happened?
And then I started my own coaching school. So my school was one of the first 3 coaching schools in the world.
Wow.
And it was accredited by the International Coach Federation in 1998. Yeah. And so I designed curriculum, I trained coaches, and I volunteered as one of the first executive on the International Coach Federation. I was on the executive board, trying to spit it out. I was on the executive board, and my role was to develop how coaches would be certified. So I had committees, and we designed a track for students to run on to become accredited as a professional coach, and the same for schools, how to become an accredited school. So we put that in place in 1998. And so fast forward, when you and I met, Bev, I was training coaches and mentoring them, and you were starting this school. And so you hired me to design this curriculum that we're working with right now. I love designing curriculum, and I have the background of knowing what the elements need to be that help our students to get to a point of demonstrating the competencies and the skills that are required to be highly professional and effective coaches.
So competencies, the ICF has core competencies. Can
Yes.
you talk a little bit about that? Why are they so
Sure.
important? What role do learning them play in the student's life as they're going through coaching school? And how do they help as you develop your career?
What's important is that the association, when you're accredited by this association, you are seen in your business, in your marketing, as highly professional, and that you have a level of training that is highly regarded in the profession. You gain credibility in your marketing when you have your credential. I used to tell my students and my mentees, imagine if you had a potential client and you're talking about the benefits and the value of coaching and why be a coach, why hire a coach, and your potential client asks you, do you work with a coach? Imagine if you said no. You would completely lose all credibility. So you gain credibility by working with your own coach and also being accredited, which represents, it's like graduating from a college and having a degree, okay? When you say a master's degree or a PhD degree, people know, they know the body of work that you needed to accomplish in order to get there. So, okay, so I'll go back and show you on the screen, just give you an idea of what these competencies are that we're talking about. And the first one is a code of ethics. We have a code of ethics, and I can tell you that in the beginning, state governments and federal governments tried to, oh dear, what's the word I'm looking for? They tried to have coaches register as therapists, and coaching is distinct from therapy. And we were able to show in the courtrooms with various states that we have a code of ethics that our coaches are aligned with and honor, and we have yet to be required now. It's accepted now across the world that coaching is a distinct helping modality from therapy.
And when we say coaching is non-clinical, what do we mean by that?
Yes, clinical diagnosis, coaches do not diagnose. Clinical is fixing the client's dysfunction. Coaching is holding the client whole and capable and resourceful. There's nothing to fix. We're lifting each other to our highest and best and what's next. If that, yeah. So anyway, one of the competencies is that we demonstrate honoring the code of ethics. Another one is called embodying a coaching mindset. So as a coach, we expect you to be always engaged in ongoing learning and development, and that you practice a self-reflective process. So you're always bringing yourself to your highest and best and your learning process. And Another competency is maintaining agreements, establishing agreements with your clients, and inviting the client to lead, to be in the leadership. See, coaching is a partnership of two experts, and the client is the expert of who they are and what they're about and their own inner wisdom, and the coach is the expert of eliciting their awareness, eliciting their wisdom, eliciting their truth, helping them to find their own answers. Another competency is cultivating trust and safety. If our clients don't feel safe and trusting in the environment, the coaching environment, they're not open to learn and discover and be vulnerable. So trust and safety is key. So our job is to create a safe and supportive environment. Can you see now for yourself how the skills that it takes to demonstrate these competencies are transferable in our lives? Coaching training is transformational for you as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Transformational.
So, Fran, these are beautiful ideas, these core competencies, but couldn't someone just take this piece of paper and teach it to themselves? Why do they need a training in order to learn how to do and be these things?
Well, if they could, they'd already be doing it, wouldn't they? Well, that's a good question. And, you know, there are some people who are very natural in this. I call it a paradigm of empowerment. They're very natural and they naturally know how to suspend judgment and how to self-manage. It takes a tremendous amount of personal emotional maturity to be a coach and to self-manage. And my experience is it takes a guide, a mentor, teachers, and accountability and support in practicing and getting feedback. This competency is called presence. And one of the keys of presence is curiosity. So instead of asking leading questions, running my agenda and what I think that client should do, I'm withholding all that and I'm being 100% curious in support of them discovering what's important to them and what they can learn about themselves. In our curriculum, in learning to be a coach, we learn deep listening, not just listening for people's words, not just listening for them to stop so I can jump in and you know, share my good idea. No, we learn a holistic listening, which means we're listening to emotions, thinking, feeling, how people are showing up, so that we can understand and be more supportive, and we can help the client to integrate their own understanding about themselves and to hear themselves. And this one is the purpose of coaching. Our job is to evoke awareness, help the client evoke awareness themselves so that they can hear and see and welcome parts of themselves, open up to new territories that help them build new capacities for accomplishing their goals in life or changing their behaviors or their beliefs. And then lastly, as our clients gain new learning, we facilitate their growth by helping them translate that new learning into action. So they're deepening their learning and they're forwarding their action toward achieving their goals and wishes and dreams and desires. and we're celebrating their progress.
Beautiful. You know, Fran, we have, let's see, course 1, 2, mentor coaching, BALM family recovery coaching. So there are 4 coaching courses. We call them course 1, 2, 3, and mentor coaching. And each one of them addresses the core competencies. Could you talk a little bit about the idea of how coaches learn in different ways to incorporate these core competencies in their practice?
How they learn in different ways.
Like each course, for instance,
Okay.
being a coach versus doing
Right.
coaching versus.
Right. Yeah. So course 1 is about being a coach, because it starts over here with us. Who am I being? This is kind of a mantra. Who I'm being has more to do with the effectiveness of my coaching than the actual skills that I'm bringing to those conversations. And so let me give you an example of that. So if who I'm being is judgmental, how safe is that client going to be? How safe are people in our lives around us when we're telling them what we think they should do? We're advising, we're making suggestions, or we're communicating judgments. So imagine that kind of scenario and how our clients would be in that space. Now, let's imagine that I'm completely present, listening to you, looking over at you, being fully present and curious. How are you feeling about that? What's important to you? How do you want to move forward? What are you noticing about yourself right now? You see, total curiosity with empathy, connection, staying connection, responsive to what you just said to me and what you just shared. Imagine the difference in that space, in that environment for the client. Course 1 about being, what does it take? That's what you're going to come away with. What does it take to be a competent, effective, highly effective coach for you, who you need to be being? You're going to discover some of your growing edges, some habits, some beliefs that you might need to change so that you're going to go forward more effectively. Course 2 is a hyper focus on the skills themselves. I just gave you a brief glimpse at those competencies. Well, there are numerous specific skills that we're going to introduce to you that help you demonstrate those competencies. And you're going to be practicing those skills with each other and getting feedback.
So at every moment along the way, you're advancing your ability to be a coach and to do coaching more.
Being and doing. The being and the doing. Yes. And then course 3.
The BALM coaching, the family recovery life coaching.
How we apply these competencies to working with your family members. So that's a big key. You know, you're getting, this is a very unique coaching school, very unique, that you're learning the ICF core competencies and how to demonstrate them in your life and with any client. And you have this beautiful body of knowledge that the BALM brings in how to effectively coach family members who are dealing with loved ones suffering with addiction. So you're going to graduate with a really broad capacity for coaching, and you can choose the particular niche in there, make your own. You know, how are you going to apply recovery coaching, and you know, how are you going to, anyway, yeah.
I get you.
Yeah. So then the mentor module, and that's the one that I love delivering, is a hyper focus on practicing. We're deepening, we're bringing course 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 all together, and we're practicing with feedback to each other. And those are group sessions. So you're learning from each other and for yourself. And then that group segment is followed by 3 one-on-one mentoring sessions where you get one-on-one feedback and support and guidance with one of our faculty members who is also highly trained as a mentor. And then
go ahead. You're going to talk about the practicum, aren't you?
well, but there's another course before the practicum.
Okay, go ahead.
And that is how to apply how to design your business, right? So some of you come in clear, who you and how you want to build your business, and some of you aren't so clear. So this course really helps you to create a structure for being in the business of coaching.
And how does all of this relate to the ICF ACTP? How does being an ACTP enhance the quality of these various courses?
Well, they're required based on our experience. We design based on, and I'm talking at the association level, research has gone into what it takes, what are the elements that are required for an individual to become a highly effective and successful coach. And so there are elements that we have designed in that are required by the association. For example, so many hours of mentoring, total number of hours of actual core competency training, and an exam. An exam, you're expected to submit recordings at the end of the curriculum. This is required. So these hoops, so many hours of your training where you're demonstrating your coaching and you're getting feedback from an accredited coach. All those are requirements.
Fran, one of the things that's so amazing over the years watching our students is how they come in and how they leave. Could you talk about the transformation that you see in this accredited coach training program?
Well, more often than not, we hear our graduates in summary reflect how transformed the quality of their life is out of the training. Never mind, the coaching training themselves, but the impact for them. This is transform the quality of their relationships. Some of our students, it has quite an impact in the day job and how they're functioning in their life and other, their relationships, as I said, in their work, their own families, in relationships, right? In their own families. Some of them say, I'm not the same person I was when I started.
Wow. I think a lot of people actually are very impressed with how differently they see life as a result of going through the program. Is there anything else you want to say to help somebody understand the importance of going through an ICF fully accredited coach training program?
Well, you have a community of support. It's huge. And it's really key to any business success, any personal success. is having a community of support. And this is another thing that we see with our students. They form cohorts, they form relationships, and they meet with each other outside of the classroom and support each other. They have others that they can call for, in their personal relationships. It's just beautiful, isn't it, Bev, to see the connections that they make?
I love seeing the way the students become each other's network. They help each other. They graduate, and one person found a great treatment center that they're referring families to, and they tell all of their coach friends about it. Another person has a family in crisis and will put out, help me with this aspect, or can you find me the right therapist? You now
network
have a group of people, a network.
Yes, you have a network of support.
On the small BALM Institute level, we have each other, and then on the worldwide level, the ICF provides this enormous network of coaches in all kinds of fields.
And resources. Yes.
And local groups to join. I know that I'm very active.
Local chapters.
In my chapter, yeah.
Local chapters. So there's, again, communities of support. The thing about coaching, and I hear this, I've always been an entrepreneur, so I've always, I started out selling potholders, that I made door to door when I was 10 years old, always been an entrepreneur. But that's not true for a lot of people. And they find, sitting, particularly now where you're on Zoom or you're on the phone and you're isolated, I hear coaches say they feel so alone. Well, this particular school bonds in relationships because of the nature of the community of support and the kind of work that we do in helping families in recovery. It's a community of support like none other I've ever seen, and I've experienced quite a few different schools around. They come, they get trained, and off they go.
Right.
But we have a culture of community and networking support. It's very generous.
Right. And it's interesting because some people do come to school and leave, and they go off and do their own things, and we hear wonderful stories from them. But many do stay in the community and help each other. And we've set it up so that people can use our program as a jumping off program. The family recovery program for their own business. So that we'll be talking more about that tomorrow, but that's pretty exciting for our coaches as well. Well, Fran, thank you so much for coming on. And next time we'll try to do it in person, but I hope you have a wonderful vacation.
Thank you.
And, thank you for all you do for our coaches and
it's such a pleasure for me. This is when I'm most alive. And I will offer, if there's anyone out there who has a question of me personally, please feel free.
And how would they reach you?
Well,
through us, or would you like
through you? Yeah, feel free.
You can just send it to support@familyrecoveryresources.com and just say, I'd like to speak with Fran Fisher about X, and we'll make sure that we connect you with Fran. That's wonderful.
Sure. Okay.
Thanks, Fran.
Bye.
When you get back. Bye-bye. Wow. What a wonderful interview that was. I really enjoyed hearing Fran's perspective, her historic perspective and her current perspective on coaching, on the revision of the core competencies, and the life and vibrancy. She's our director of training. She teaches the mentor coaching course. You'll have the privilege of being in her class if you're in this program, and it's an experience you really don't want to miss. Also, if you're an advanced coach, you're already a coach, and you're wondering how many of your credits can transfer to see if you can come in at the advanced level, which courses you might be able to place out of, you'll want to speak with Fran. She'll take a look at everything and let you know that. You can also contact me, Bev Buncher, and I can help you get in touch with her. We'll work together on this. Okay, so now we have another very special interview for you. Jill Previs and I just sat down about an hour and a half ago and talked about the BALM part of the puzzle. So she's going to talk about what's special to her about being a BALM coach, and then why it's so important that BALM be in the coach training. So let's take a listen. And this is a fresh tape. Jericho, take it away. Hi, everybody. This is Beverly Buncher, founder and program director of the BALM Training Institute for Family Recovery Services. And we're here tonight to talk about the coach training program with one of our lead coaches and faculty members, Jill Previs. Welcome, Jill.
Hi, Bev, and hi, everyone listening to this. It's an honor to be able to answer these questions.
Well, it's so wonderful to have you on. And I remember when you were thinking about becoming a BALM coach, your passion was with helping families. You really, that was it for you. You just wanted to help families. And yet you're our lead business coach and lead business faculty member. So tell me how you bring those two together.
Well, as you know, yes, my passion is, and I know my purpose and my calling by my higher power, who I call God, is, and it was given to me very clearly that I have to work with family members who have loved ones trapped in the disease of addiction. With substance use disorder. And so I already knew the world of coaching because I was coaching in another industry, but I knew that I wanted to do something with families and that God wanted me to do that too. And so when I was directed to reach out to you, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can do this and get paid and also follow and, pursue my passion and my purpose and my calling. And so then once I went through the BALM coaching program, I got to grow as an individual. I started learning things about coaching that I certainly never learned in my other coaching program. And then got out there and started, once I graduated and I started, connecting, and I hired you as my business coach and started like having some success, then that passion turned into, oh my gosh, there's all these other coaches that I want to see them be successful too. Because I had been in another coaching industry and I was a floundering coach. There was nobody that I could reach out to get that community and that support and the direction. And that's why I'm so passionate about not only working with families, but also working with coaching students and then coaches once they get out.
Wow. So you're able to help other coaches achieve what you're achieving every day.
Yes.
And that's amazing. So what do you find most meaningful about being a BALM family recovery life coach?
There's so many things. The most meaningful would be the impact and the transformation that I get to see every single day when I'm working with families. I love that that they have the curriculum of the BALM, that I am certified in the BALM program. They have the tools, I have the tools. And so, we get to partner up and use the BALM as the guide to help that family absolutely get to that place of peace and calm. The other thing that's so amazing is that, yes, our BALM comprehensive program is a year long, but as you know, the beautiful thing is most family members start to see some peace and calm within sometimes a week. I mean, it doesn't take that long. It might be a month or 2 months, but it doesn't take that long. And so that's so rewarding to be part of that process and then to be part of their journey. And most families stick with me for about a year. And so I get to know them really well.
That's beautiful, Jill. Talk about a part of your work, another part of your work, perhaps, that's important to you. Would it be teaching, coaching, individuals or families, running groups, speaking and working with treatment centers?
Well, I am passionate. It's all of it. It is every single one. But I would like to talk about treatment centers because we have something to offer treatment centers. As we all know, treatment centers, there's some that offer great family programs. There's others that don't even have the resources. And because it's not a billable, they're not able to offer it at the level that we can. And so this whole concept of being able to collaborate with treatment centers, it's a win-win. I have families come to me that are in pain and they need guidance and they don't know the BALM yet, but I'm going to help them put that BALM conversation together. But a lot of times the first step is, okay, your loved one needs to be assessed or looked at to see if treatment is what they need. And then for me to be able to put that family in touch with the treatment center and having that kind of relationship that I do with several treatment centers where I know the key players and I can call somebody in admissions and say, okay, Tim, here's this family, work your magic now. I've gotten them this far. And then once they're there, now we've got this beautiful working relationship that I get to be part of with the treatment center as well as the family.
So,
but I also love teaching the 12 principles class. I love that too.
Talk about that.
Well, the BALM 12 principles class, we didn't have that when I first got started. And so I have a class I run every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And sometimes a family member might not be ready to jump in and join the BALM Comprehensive. They might not be ready to hire me as a coach. They might not have the resources. And so I have the BALM 12 principles class. And that is so good because yes, we have the community feel in the BALM Comprehensive, but this 12 principles class, not only am I able to educate them by each week going through the PowerPoints of a principle, but we actually have that group coaching feel and that community feel, and the families get to know each other, and then they're growing, and it's amazing at the end of the 12 weeks. I've got one class running now. We just finished BALM Principle 3, and just in 3 weeks, like the pain that I heard at the check-in on the first week and where they are now at their checkout on Principle 3, it's amazing.
Wow. Well, Jill, everybody in our program goes through life coaching training. All the coaches go through life coach training. And our program is the only International Coach Federation fully accredited coach training program to focus on recovery. Why do they need the BALM? Why can't they just have that?
Because when a family, the BALM is the curriculum. Like that's the specialization that we have. Yes, I love and am very proud that I went through an ICF accredited coaching school, that I can say I am a PCC ICF certified coach. That is huge, especially out in the professional world. But it's more than life coaching when you're working with a family that's in crisis or they're at their wit's end. And to be able to give them their specific tools. That's what the BALM is all about. It's giving direction, there's tools, there's teaching them, and they get to learn new skills. It's that transformation piece that's specific to families. Yes, there's transformation that takes place when you're doing just basic life coaching. And sometimes a session is basic life coaching, especially if the loved one is in a good place, and now I'll just say parent, I work with, wives and spouses and stuff, but when their loved one's in a good place and there's been all this craziness going on for maybe a couple of years, and, the wife I'm working with or the mother that I'm working with or the husband, they might be ready to start to get their life back in order and want some life coaching because they haven't been able to focus on themselves. And So
Right.
I do use those skills, but having the BALM along with it is huge. And that's also what sets us apart when I call on treatment centers. Treatment centers love that I am a family recovery coach, but I'm certified in the BALM program. And that gets their attention because anybody can go out there and walk into a treatment center because they've got some recovery in Al-Anon or AA or whatever under their belt. Nothing against that.
Nothing to, right. Not
Nothing
to
against
denigrate
that because I have that too.
Right.
However, it's more than that. It's definitely more than the 12 steps, what the BALM offers. It just is.
Right.
And treatment centers know that too.
Yes, they do, especially once they start.
Yeah, and they
Working with
recognize
them.
it. Yep, and they acknowledge it.
So what would you say to someone considering taking the BALM Family Recovery Life Coach Training Program? Would you recommend it?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So anybody watching this, if you're feeling a passion, if there's some nudge in you that, this is something that you've wanted to do, I just can't say enough, like follow that passion, jump in. Bev, I think it was my husband that said, and you refer back to it, we need an army of coaches. Okay, we still have a lot of work to be done out there. So we need BALM coaches all over the US and the country. So jump in, join our team, join our community, have fun at the same time. You'll have your own journey as you're going through the coaching program. Believe me, it'll bring up stuff that you probably didn't know that you had to work on, because I think everybody has that happen, but that's all about growth too. And so if you're thinking about being a coach, you already know the benefit of growth because you're at this place where you're thinking about doing something professionally, where you're going to be helping other people, but you also get to help yourself.
That's beautiful, Jill. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are watching this, if coach training is appealing to you and working with families is really interesting, you'll want to hear the next talk, which in the 4-day challenge, which will be me explaining the program and current students in the coach training program talking about their experience of going through it. So we hope you'll come and hear all about that. And I thank you so much, Jill, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to talk to new and prospective coaches.
You're welcome. It was fun and an honor. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And remember, everybody, be a loving mirror. Bye. Well, everybody, I hope you found these 2 interviews as enlightening as I have. And I just want to send out a thank you to our executive assistant, Lori Boland, who does the BTI orientations. So when you bring a family into BALM, Lori introduces them to it and also new coaches. So you get to see our online platform through the eyes of Lori, which is a wonderful way to see it. And she's also really an amazing part of our program. She makes sure that the trains run on time and keeps us creative and positive. And thank you, Lori, for being here tonight. And Jericho Ang, our IT guy, who made these videos possible. I thank you both. I salute you. And Joan, who already left, who's on every single call almost. And you'll get to know Joan as you go through the program. Thank you again, everybody, for coming, and see you tomorrow again when we talk about the ins and outs of the program and hear students' perspectives on its value for them. Thank you so much. And remember, everyone, I'll say it again, be a loving mirror. Bye.